Last year, Ewan and I experienced a little of the famous Netherlands cycling culture and were determined to head back. So we're heading for Zuiderzee, a sea that once dominated the heart of the Netherlands, shaping the history and the lives of those along its shores. Now a freshwater lake, IJsselmeer is also the home of one of the most popular Dutch long-distance cycle routes. Our adventure will take us on trains to London, out to Harwich, a ferry across the Hook of Holland, and then over 400 miles cycling, taking us up to Amsterdam and round the IJsselmeer, back to Hook of Holland to return home, with a couple of parkruns thrown into the mix too. This year marks our 6th year cycle tour together, and it's going to be our biggest challenge yet. The bikes are fully loaded with our tent and all the gear we need for the week ahead. Join us as we explore the legacy of the Zuiderzee, dive into its stories, and make new memories together. Hello and welcome to our 6th annual cycle tour adventure. I'm currently on the ferry from Harwich with Ewan, who's currently watching the Olympics, enjoying soaking up the sunshine, sparkling on the waves as we make our way across to the Hook of Holland. What a beautiful start to our adventure. We can't wait to get started, but first we need to get to that port, dock and get off this boat. Our first day is done. We have made it to the campsite in Delft, haven't we?
Yep.
It's a nice short ride to get from the ferry port up to Delft, just over 12 miles. And we made it in time for Ewan to have a quick swim in the pool here. It's nice to be at a familiar campsite for our first night. This is where we stayed when we last came to the Netherlands to do Zuiderzee Parkrun. Tomorrow morning, we're not going to do Zuiderzee Parkrun, we're going to do Delft Parkrun. No big trip to do in the morning, it's just over there. So a nice short trip to the parkrun in the morning before a big day of cycling, isn't it? Hopefully, we'll get all the way to Amsterdam tomorrow. Reckon we can do it?
Yeah.
Cool. Ewan's going to go off and explore the campsite a bit more. I think I'm going to chill for a bit. See you in the morning. We've had a good night's sleep at the campsite. And this morning, we're heading to parkrun. It's just a short little ride from the campsite. So, see what Delft parkrun is like.
In 3, 2, 1, go! Have fun, guys! See you in a bit.
Keep going.
Well done.
Cheers. We have completed our parkrun this morning. Now we're just heading back to strike camp and start the next part of our ride from here in Delft up towards Amsterdam. Hoping the tent has dried out because it was soaked in dew this morning. Everything's loaded back on the bikes. Ewan had a lovely refreshing swim while I was busy doing all the hard work of loading everything up. He did offer, but I think the swim was needed. And now we are heading off towards Amsterdam, back actually through the parkland that we were parkrunning through this morning, and along some lovely shaded forestry paths. Cycling through some beautiful wetlands at the moment. Horse riding along beside us and blue skies overhead. Fabulous. Just stopped to look at the birds in the bird hide, but bird hide here has bike parking for you while you stop and enjoy the sights around you. We have just enjoyed lunch together. Was that nice, Ewan? A bit different, wasn't it? Not normal English fare. Bit of change.
Yeah.
Very nice sort of sausage rolly type thing, but it wasn't quite the normal sausage roll. Very tasty. And again, some little extra sweet bits as well, didn't they, Ewan, to enjoy as Dutch specialities. I think they could probably tell we were English. Not really difficult, seeing as we speak English and thought they'd try some out on us. So we really enjoyed that, and I needed that coffee as well. My first coffee of the day. How have I kept going till gone lunchtime and not had coffee? Good going. And now we're going to check out the Jumbo supermarket and see if we can find you an ice cream, can't we? Just enjoying a nice tailwind as we zoom along a concrete cycle path. But this is just beautiful to be able to do. These long cycle paths through the fields, no cars around. Just enjoy the views around us. We need more of it in the UK. Our new government, how about really committing on the route alongside HS2 becoming one long cycle path from the top to the bottom of the UK. Let's get it done. I'm a bit of a pylon geek. My family might say a lot of a pylon geek. And I spotted these ones. They're completely different from any I've seen at home. I quite like them, quite elegant. They look a bit like flagpoles towering up with the power lines attached to them. Bit different. This tailwind is making today a very relaxing ride. We're cruising along 15 miles an hour, barely putting any effort in. You and I are quite hoping that the wind changes before we start heading back to the port at the end of our ride. Enjoying the lake and rivers by the side of us at the moment. Boats out sailing, people out swimming as well in the water on this idyllic summer's day that we've got today. Absolutely gorgeous. We have just taken a short detour to come to the airport at Schiphol to see the Amsterdam, I Amsterdam sign, which Ewan wanted to see. So we're just going to go and find that now. God, it's breezy up here. We've made it to Amsterdam, well, to the outskirts of Amsterdam, to Schiphol Airport. As you can see from the sign in the background, we found it, Ewan. Still a few miles to go there yet, aren't there? Got to go and find nearer the centre of Amsterdam and find a campsite for tonight, ready to start our ride round the big lake in the morning. We are rolling our way into Amsterdam, entering the city on some lovely cycle routes, avoiding all the busy traffic on the roads alongside us. We've got about just over 7 miles to do to get to where we're hoping we can camp tonight. Though if we spot somewhere else slightly sooner, we may try there as well. We'll see how it goes. Cycling through a beautiful park in the centre of Amsterdam, and it feels like a motorway of cyclists as we cycle along here. We have arrived in Amsterdam. We've cycled through Amsterdam and out to a campsite, which is actually on the edge of the lake, or one of the sort of bays off the lake that we are going to be cycling around in the next few days. Ewan's busy munching peanuts. He can't wait for me to get and cook the tea. I've got some pasta cooking with some sausages we bought in the shop here. Very low key. Not exactly haute cuisine, but it will fill up a hole. We're definitely hungry after 50 miles ridden today, as well as the parkrun this morning, so quite a bit completed. So looking forward to some tea. Lovely little campsite. The Dutch seem to do campsites really well. They are fab campsites, aren't they, Ewan? So we're really enjoying that. And I've even got some places I can plug my bits and pieces in and hope to get some charge tonight. And Ewan has discovered they've got free Wi-Fi, so it's sorted. What they've got here as well is lots of areas for camping set aside in these campsites for people who just turn up, cycle touring, backpacking, that sort of thing. So if you've got no car, don't have a big tent, you just sort of find your own space, and it seems to be averaging out about €25. Both sites charge us €25 for a space for the night, which isn't too bad. Decided that tonight was definitely the sort of night when you should crack out a gin and tonic. Cheers. The end of our first big day of cycle touring. Time to hit the sack, get a few hours sleep before tomorrow we start the main circuit around the big lake. Looking forward to a new part of the Netherlands that I've never been in before. Night all. Good morning. We have another sunshiny day for the next day of our tour. We start our circuit of the lake IJsselmeer today. First, time for a brew. Bikes are all loaded up. We're ready to go. Start our tour proper round the lake today. Riding up towards the big dike that there is to cycle across, which will leave until tomorrow. It's too much to try and do that today. It's quite a long way across. But treated ourselves to croissants first from the little shop on the campsite. One of the joys of cycling in the Netherlands, little rest you get when the bridges decided to open to let our boat through, which is what we're enjoying right now. It's difficult to describe just how idyllic it feels this morning, gliding along on these beautiful cycleways and just enjoying the green fields, the dikes and ditches and the livestock spread out around us, just gliding along. It just feels fabulous. You get the feeling cheese is big around here. We've been past a cheese and clog factory where Ewan and I had to stop and get some selfies in the giant clog. And now we've just passed the home of cheese. We have just enjoyed a very nice lunch. Smoked salmon was delicious. And we could sit there watching the world go by on the waterfront, and some amazing sailing yachts and motor yachts coming in and out as well. We're back on our bikes, enjoying the ride. We have just passed through Edam, which of course, if you're a fan of certain cheeses, you will know that name well. The road has just risen up, so we can actually see the lake at the side of us again. For a while we've been riding below it, along underneath, well not underneath, but down below the dike. And so the water's actually been up above us. So it's nice to actually be able to see the view and the town up ahead. I'm not sure what town it is, but we'll find out soon. Day 3 of our cycle tour here in the Netherlands is finished. We've arrived at the campsite. Don't know quite where we are, but we've done another 50 miles today almost, and enjoying another summery sunny evening. Experiment today, I used my fold-out solar panel on the back of my bike, sort of flapped out over my panniers, and it's done a brilliant job of charging up my phone and a couple of battery packs as I have been pedalling along. So that's a great way of, on a day like today, keeping things topped up. Time for some tea. Yep, it'll be Aldi pasta again, this time with some dried sausage chopped up in it. And then just a chilled evening, listening to the wind and the waves as we're right by the side of the lake, literally a stone's throw from our tent. Perfect. Good morning, enjoying my morning brew as the sun is rising. Well, it's freezing really. But beautiful campsite. As you can hear the sound of the waves in the background, it just lulled us to sleep last night, and just felt like, sometimes you have those sound effects that you put onto your Alexa or speak whatever you have by your bed and give these sort of sounds. We have the natural version over the night. One not so good thing, flies. Don't think I've seen so many flies between the outer and the inner of the tent any time I've been camping before. We have loads of them, so that's going to be fun trying to strike camp and get rid of all of those before backing it away. Well, enjoy my brew first, gonna have a bit of breakfast, and then we're on with our way. Today, all being well, we should be crossing the big dike that's 20 miles long that separates this freshwater lake from the sea. We are on our way. We've checked in and checked out of the campsite. We actually didn't check in last night because they were all closed up. We phoned up and they said, oh, just go and find yourself a space and come and sort it out in the morning, which we've done. Very honest of us. But the campsite was literally on the route, so no big detours to find the campsite. And we're now gliding our way on in the Netherlands sunshine. Today, I am using my solar panel again, and also my bike is a mobile washing line. I washed some of my clothes this morning and drying them out today. The size of the greenhouses and so on they have here are enormous. Obviously, probably starting off all those flowers and other things for which the Netherlands is so famous, but some seriously impressive growing capability. On the right, we have the lake. On the left, we have fields spread out as far as you can see. I'm guessing originally they would have been underwater and they're reclaimed land, now filled with crops and sheep and the odd heron or two. Ahead of us, we can see a whole load of wind generators, and somewhere up ahead of us must be the dike that we're going to cross. But can't see that at the moment. I guess too low and just blends into the sea. Just cycling past the marina, which has got some truly beautiful sailing boats in. Definitely one of those I could quite happily go cruising in. Just need to learn to sail properly first. We're just taking a little diversion off the main Zuiderzee route to head to restock our food supplies for tonight. We need an Aldi, and there's one just up here. We've got the dried pasta that we're after. They've got gin and tonics for me in the evening. And we've got a load of sweet treat type things as well to enjoy. Things that we've not got at home. Time to get back on the route and carry on cycling. Cycling away from the town on a beautiful tree-lined avenue, and you can see here very clearly the way the roads work when you haven't got dedicated segregated cycle infrastructure, you have these orange sections on either side of the road for cycling in. The cars are allowed in them, providing there's no bikes, if they need to pass a sort of car coming the other way. And basically bikes have priority on the road in the orange sections. All seems to work. I've stopped to appreciate this site behind me. Got a load of wind generators all in a line, turning behind each other. It creates quite an unusual pattern as you stand here watching it. Slightly mesmerising. The road that we are on just is a dead straight, goes on forever road. Just stretches out and tapers into the distance. You just don't seem to actually be getting anywhere when you're cycling. For a brief moment, the route took us up onto the dike. We could appreciate the view for a few seconds before it dropped us back down onto this dead straight road. We've been riding along it now for over 7 miles since leaving the town. Just dead straight cycling. We've had one slight turn, one slightly bigger turn, but other than that, straight roads just taper into the distance. We have stopped at one of these aeroplane posts, and as we thought, there are memorial signs, and this one was for a American fighter plane that had been out with a squadron protecting 566 American bombers that were flying around, and it crashed near here, and the memorial site is therefore for the pilot who lost his life, and the aeroplane was recovered, I think it was in 93. So we've managed to do a bit of a translation of what's here. So we are finally off that long straight road and enjoying a cycle track through some woodland, which has 2 benefits. One is it's a nice change from that long straight road, and secondly, it's shaded. Ah, bliss. A bit of shade from the sun. Much as I'm loving the sunshine, it's nice to have a bit of shade for a while. We have just enjoyed a very nice lunch at the cafe just down there before we set off on what is now going to be a 20-mile ride across the dike that separates the freshwater lake from the sea. We're actually the seaside of that at the moment, and we can see the fishing boats down below us in the harbour. So we've just left where we ate our lunch, refilled our bottles, and at that point we said what we were about to do, and they said, oh no, you'll be catching the bus. Apparently at the moment you can't cycle across it, so we're about to go and double check that, but it looks like we may be getting a bus across this dike rather than cycling across it. So yes, we can't cycle across the dike. I'm disappointed. Is Ewan disappointed? He's a bit disappointed, he says. It would have been quite an adventure and quite unusual. Oh well, let's see how we get on and finding the bus. Well, cycling across the dike wasn't to be, but being the Netherlands, they have provided us with a free bus for us and our bikes to get across, and we can enjoy the view in the relaxation of a bus seat as we go across. So we can only see one side because there's a big grass wall on that side, so you can't see much there. Well, a part of the journey that would have taken us a good couple of hours has instead taken us just over half an hour. So we're over the other side of the dike now and just having a little bit of an explore before carrying on our route. This by the side of me, this building here, is a centre which I think gives information about the dike, but at the moment it's closed. We've just come and had a look at the locks and bridges that allow boats to travel from the sea into the freshwater lake. Very impressive piece of engineering, but even more impressive, this whole dike has been open for closing really, not open is it, 90 years. Last bit was actually closed in the 1930s. So just incredible to think back then, this amazing feat of engineering to close off these 2 stretches of water without all the modern mechanical equipment that we have today to hand. A lot of this would have been far harder work back then. Well, we are riding the last little bit of the dike to the actual land the other side. The bit where the bus dropped us off is sort of a little island in the middle of it where the visitor centre is. Experience the wind that we are right now, cycling on this little section. I must admit, I'm perhaps thinking I'm not too disappointed I didn't get to ride the whole 20 miles. This section of cycling since we left the dike has been tough, battling into a headwind, and to be honest, not much of a view because we're below the dike on the right hand side of us, and so you can't see the water and the sun shimmering on it. Even for a bike path, we have warnings when there's going to be a sharp bend. Just made it to the outskirts of Workum and taking a slight detour off the official route to our campsite. We got to the campsite, we've checked in, spotted some cold drinks in the fridge. So before we've even got as far as unloading the bikes, it's time to pop a can. Well, as soon as we got to the campsite, we put the outer up of the tent, but that was it. Chucked the stuff inside and headed straight down to the lake, just a kilometre from the campsite. There is a beautiful beach by the lake just here, and we went for a swim. Quite unusual, going for a swim, and there's no salt, but it looks like you're in the sea. So that was a beautiful way to cool down, freshen up after a day in the saddle. And of course, we're now back at the campsite, just cooked up haute cuisine. Yep, it's Aldi pasta, this time with a fresh addition of a fresh pepper from Aldi as well, and some pepperoni in there as well, and a bread roll from Aldi. Thanks Aldi. It was lovely watching the sunset as we were eating our tea, and now the world has gone quiet, and so must we. Time to go to sleep. See you in the morning for the next day of riding. Good morning. It's the start of what looks to be another warm day cycling in the Netherlands. We're cycling down the other side of the lake today, and we've been told about the fountains in the various towns here, so we're taking a short detour to begin with to go and see the fountain in the town that we're camped by right now. So let's head off, say goodbye to the goats and the cockerels on the way out, and get cycling. We found the fountain in the centre of Workum. Two lions that look like they're fighting by sending jets of water at each other. Slightly comic, but slightly angry as well. We've left the little town of Workum behind after visiting the fountain and are back out in the open fields of this region. Interesting facts from our Dutch friend who told us both about the fountain, but he also told us about this region in that they've got their own dialect or language and their own anthem, flag. So yeah, like Wales is to England, I guess. Be the best way of describing it, he said. So really interesting to explore how different it is from the other side of the lake. Just spotted these, which is where they'd brought the goods up from the boats on some train tracks and up into the factory when it should have been a fully working port. Found our next fountain, our third. It's a giant fish, and the story behind it is all about the sea gives, the sea takes away, the history of this port with sometimes it's silting up and no longer being able to bring fish in, sometimes being prosperous. This one, big fish, eats little fish as well. We're trying to decide whether we could climb into the jaws of the fish or not, but it does say no climbing, so we think probably not. We've just passed through one of the lock gates and bridge systems that lets the boats out from the lake into some of the canals. Just watching a few boats come through that and heading out to the lake now. God, it's a warm day today, really feeling humid as well, not such a dry heat as yesterday, which definitely means every time you stop, you really feel it. We have just cycled through Redcliffe and past the Memorial Stone, which is where the Friedlands meet each year to sort of celebrate their individual identity and their struggles in the past over the overall system, feudal system in the overall Netherlands. They celebrate their own culture, language, and what a beautiful spot to do it in. We have turned off the road, which was actually quite busy for the Netherlands anyway, and there was no dedicated cycling infrastructure, so it felt quite odd. But we turned through a trail through the woods, which means we have blessed shade. It is really hot today. The key thing today is it is really humid. It sometimes feels like you're cycling through water, it's so humid. Very different from the dry heat we had yesterday. So even though I think temperature-wise it's actually cooler, it feels hotter. The route has just brought us back up alongside the lake and ahead I can see a beach. Lunch break stop for us, sitting here watching the boats go by, or yachts more to the point, to the size of these. I'm enjoying a ham and cheese toasty. Ewan has gone for the highly nutritious and healthy Nutella pancake for his lunch. We have done over 30 miles so far, hoping to get at least another 20 in, but hopefully another 31 or 2, which will get us to the 100 kilometres for the day's riding, which will be quite an achievement for Ewan. A very strange optical illusion that we're passing by at the moment. It looks like there's a row of boats sitting in a field. In our heads we know there must be a canal just there, but there's no sign of it. It just looks like they're sailing in a field. We've had a lovely section of cycling at the moment, cycling along by the river, appreciating all the houses with the boat moorings at the end of their gardens and the beautiful views, people out enjoying the river and all sorts of craft and swimming as well. We're very much thinking if we moved here we'd definitely need a boat or two. Passing one of the pump houses that manages all the water levels and dropping off the road back onto the cycle route. We have come off my Garmin route and have just been following the Zuiderzee signs because we thought that was the official route, and it seems to have taken us a completely different way now, and we seem to be in the middle of nowhere surrounded by farmland, hoping we'll get to somewhere with a campsite at some point. So an incredible thought right now. All this farmland we're surrounded by at one point would have been the sea, and the building that we're just passing is a lighthouse, and you can see all the stone ramparts would have been there to protect it from the waves. Little beacon here on the end of a promontory there as well. Incredible to think that what we're cycling through now would have once been a windswept and potentially storm-swept sea that needed the lighthouse. Ewan, I have just ticked over 63 miles on my Garmin, which means you've done 100k. Your furthest ever, and your first 100 kilometres in a day, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not just on a lightweight road bike, taking it easy, but fully loaded with your gear as well. Awesome. Well done. Now we've got the minor detail. We still need to find a campsite and some water. Well, having cracked the 100-kilometre mark, now is the goal to find a campsite. We think we found somewhere. We're hoping they've got space. We're hoping the website said it is. The reception is still be open when we get there. So, and Ewan's really hoping they've got some cold drinks like orange juice. I wouldn't mind one myself. We found a campsite. We've pitched our tent, but the shop's closed, so we're heading back out again. But this is a really funky campsite. Little pricey. It cost me €45 in the end for our space for the night. Like over double what I paid last night. It'd be quite fun if you're staying here for a while, I think. Beaches and lakes to swim in and all sorts of funky things for kids to play on. So we've made it back to the campsite. Time to cook up some tea. We are starving. Guess what? It's an Aldi staple again. Tortellino with prosciutto this evening. So basically ham in pasta. I'm sprucing mine up with tomato. Ewan didn't want the healthy stuff in it, and we have got some nice bits of bread to have with it as well. And of course some pepperami to give us some extra protein. It's brewing. The water is now on the trangia. And we are about to enjoy a cold drink. Ewan has got himself a nice bottle of orange to enjoy. I have got myself 2 drinks to enjoy. I have a smoothie of stuff that I've no idea what it is because I can't read it, but it looked nice. But I've been meaning to try for ages Desperados. I kept seeing it. It seems to be really popular over here. It's a beer, flavoured beer. I'm going to give it a try. It's certainly fizzy.
God, I can't open this.
Cheers. Quite nice.
I can't open
Refreshing.
this.
Ewan looks like he's going to have to go dry. He can't open his. Would you like me to open it for you?
Yeah.
I'll warn you out. He has managed a total of 70, what did I say it was?
I don't know.
73 miles, basically, near enough. That is quite an impressive achievement. It's about 20 miles more than he has ever done before, and carrying all his gear as well, so I'm amazingly proud of him. Are you proud of yourself, Ewan?
Mhm.
You've done superb, and he's just kept going. We've done it at a pretty good lip as well, haven't we? We've done we did some 5-mile sections at 15 miles an hour average speed. So we've been pretty moving along for quite a bit of it as well. Admittedly, occasionally helped by a bit of a tailwind, but even when we had a bit of a headwind, we were still doing 11 or 12 miles an hour. So some pretty good cycling today in the hot weather as well. Right, time to get cooking that tea. Tasty. Filling the hole back up.
Yeah.
Good. We have had a fab shower. After you've been riding all day in the heat, how good does the shower feel, Ewan?
Very nice.
Even you will admit today the shower feels
Yes.
good, will you? Not normally the biggest fan of showers, but today he was actually quite keen to have one. And we treated ourselves as well when we were at Jumbo to a nice chocolatey dessert, didn't we, Ewan?
Yes.
Just take a look at that. Oh, chocolate deliciousness.
They're heavy.
Do you want the case?
Yeah.
Just wonder whether you want it. How's it taste, Ewan? Good night. We will see you in the morning. A slightly more relaxed start this morning. Just about to strike the tent. And then we're going to explore the campsite a little bit, because there's not many campsites that scattered around the site are UFOs, aeroplanes, tramway cart and a helicopter, as well as 2 beaches and all the rest of it. So got to explore the site a bit and see these various things before we head off on the official route of Zuiderzee route, not the route that was on my Garmin, so we're just going to trust the signs. But it does, having looked online, it seems to rejoin at the next major town, so hopefully we'll be on track again then and the 2 routes will agree. We also do need to find toothbrush and toothpaste, because somehow between last night and this morning they've disappeared. The joys of camping and being on the move all the time. We found the helicopter and plenty of other strange things as we've been wandering around on our bikes as well. This is a creative campsite apparently, and I'm certainly it has an element of madness, creativity and general awesomeness about it. I could quite happily stay here for a week. Passing through more fields stretched out on either side of us. This part of the Netherlands is definitely far more rural than the section up through Amsterdam and on the other side of the lake. A bit like at home, but a bit flatter. And the roads are very straight. We have seen several of these blue and white poles with ships on top, not aeroplanes but ships. Taking a closer look at this one, and it's a marker of where a ship was found in 1949. The ship was actually from circa 1400, and they've removed it now. But a reminder, actually, this whole area that we're currently cycling through would have been underwater, would have been the sea. Hence, shipwrecks. You'd never believe it at the moment when you're cycling along. This morning we aren't using the Garmin for direction because we're well off the route I had as a GPX. We're just using the signs, which is great. They've got them. The only slight challenge is they're often at or sometimes even after the junction where you need to know which way you're going. So it sometimes requires a sudden, oh, we need to turn left there moment. So it certainly adds a vision of excitement to the proceedings. What we're standing on now was once an island. Just here were the docks, and we've just been listening to the story of one of the local people who was born here, raised here, lived most of his life here until it was turned back to the mainland that we see all around us now. Now we are just surrounded by fields in all directions. But can you imagine fishing boats? He describes himself as an eel fisherman. He was the harbour master. He seemed to do all sorts of jobs. This would have been where the boats would have coming in. You'd hear the call of seagulls, the noise of the fisher boat bringing in their catch. Incredible. Difficult to believe, but interesting to see these sort of remnants of what was once here.
I had my own boat called De Twee Gebroeders, the two brothers, and would go out and fish for eel. Hauling in a trap full of fish was a great feeling. It's a long time since I did that. Incidentally, I also served as a rural law enforcement officer. I even operated the foghorn on the island. And then there was my personal life. I was happily married to my sweetheart friend.
At various points they've got these people and an animal alongside it telling two stories of this, what was the islands of Scotland, now just obviously sea or fields. The lady lived here, actually had to evacuate because the islands of Scotland were in such a poor state in the 1800s due to flooding and all of that sort of thing. And she tells the story of having to move to the mainland. The otter tells a story about what they're doing now, which is creating nature reserves, connecting up the nature reserves so that the otters will be able to breed and survive because they'd almost completely died out. Ewan, we are 10 miles into our day after your epic day of riding. How's everything feeling?
Good.
How's the legs?
Fine.
How's the bottom?
Nah.
It's the toughest bit of long distance cycling, your bottom. Epically proud of your achievement yesterday, Ewan. Over 70 miles. Epic. We're crossing the bridge into Kampen and the dry weather has deserted us. The rain has arrived. It's actually quite refreshing. Quite a nice change. So we are on a jumbo finding mission, our new favourite supermarket, mostly because of their smoothies and some rather nice bread and so on they do, to find ourselves some lunch. Very healthy lunch of a sausage roll and a Danish pastry, but lots of carbs, lots of sugar to power us on our way, isn't it? And we're just in a park in the middle of Kampen. Don't really know where to say other than that, do we, Ewan? We don't really know where we're going. But we're just carrying on following the Zuiderzee route, following the signs, not my Garmin, though at some point fairly soon I think my Garmin and the signs should start to align again. We hope so. And we might start to navigate properly, because every now and then the signs don't quite give us the information we need, do they? So if you do come and do the Zuiderzee route and you think, oh, I'll just do it with the signs, be prepared that sometimes you can be left a bit thinking, well, where do we go now then? Heading back out to the town now, past a few goats, as you do, and see where the route takes us next. We're back out into the fields and the wetlands, and good news is, it's no longer raining either. After 10 miles of empty farmland again, it's quite surreal when you're out there. It is so empty and just nothing to be seen in all directions. And then suddenly we find another town, our next little town on the route. We could just see the church spire ahead of us for a little while, indicating that there was something coming up, and it's just started to spit with rain again as we've arrived at this town. So the bit of drizzle rapidly turned into what, Ewan?
Rain!
Torrential rain! We got soaked in the couple of hundred metres till we found a tree to shelter under, which is only offering so much shelter. I wouldn't call it proper shelter. Oh. Well, we arrived in the town. It was tipping it down. Everybody was desperately hurrying for shelter. We found a cafe, which you can see just behind us. Lovely, romantic sort of setting, candle on the table. I'm not quite sure they were expecting two dripping wet cyclists, but we thoroughly enjoyed a nice hot coffee. Ewan's had his first ever latte. Ewan, are you a coffee convert?
It's okay.
It's okay. Still prefer a mocha or a hot chocolate. But while we're on there, we did some quick searching and we found a campsite. We decided we're not going to risk going any further tonight. It might tip it down again. So we're going to go and find somewhere to camp and chill out for the evening. Well, after several nights where our biggest problem has been how to keep cool enough after we've pitched our tent, tonight that's not a problem. I'm in the party tent, which is basically a gazebo, at the campsite we're at tonight, cooking inside there because it is tipping it down still outside there. But it's quite nice and cosy in here. I've got a bit of my washing hung up, Ewan's chilling, listening to stuff on his headphones, who knows what, I can't hear it. And I'm busy cooking, guess what? Yep, it's Aldi pasta time again, with some salami and with some fresh bread rolls from Jumbo, our new favourite supermarket. Good morning. The rain has stopped. Bit of sun has appeared. Are you ready, Ewan?
Yeah,
Do you think we can make it all the way to Amsterdam today?
I think we can.
We're going to try for another big day's riding today. 60-ish, maybe a bit more, depending on what route, the official route compared to our Garmin says, to Amsterdam. But that's a late night opening campsite, so we should be fine. Time to get on those bikes and get moving.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get riding. What's your favourite? We found the square that we dived for cover in yesterday when it started tipping it down rain, Ewan. It's much nicer in this morning sunshine than it was in the teeming rain of yesterday. Beautiful little town. This morning we're back cycling through rural landscapes again, but it does have a slightly different feel to it. The architecture of the house is a bit different, a lot more thatched houses as well. Robotic lawnmowers were everywhere. Are they on the mission to take over the Netherlands? We've seen a lot of these as well, little sort of sheds or other things in people's gardens selling coffee, cake, tea and juice. Just wondering if that bike will be big enough for Ewan if he carries on growing. Just found a giant flamingo. I get nicknamed the flamingo because I have a tendency to stand on one leg, especially when playing the flute. So, couldn't resist the chance to get a selfie with a flamingo. Ewan was very glad when we spotted this cafe. He was getting very hungry and the little town was still a little way away. So when this appeared, even if it is slightly more pricey than we would normally go for, we decided to go for it. And Ewan's also really enjoying the fact it's got a comfortable sofa for him to sit on. Something nice and comfy for his bottom after all that hard saddle time. We enjoyed a delicious lunch. I had something I had last time I was in the Netherlands, which I loved, which is honey and brie and walnuts on a really deep, dark rye bread. Tastes lush. And I treated myself to an espresso afterwards, and Ewan enjoyed a hot chocolate. Back out, battling the headwind, continuing on our way to Amsterdam, about 35 miles to go. We're well over halfway through our cycle tour now, and yeah, one bit of me will be looking forward to going home and seeing Ruth again, but there is a large bit of me that just enjoys being out on two wheels and wishing this ride wouldn't end. Carry on across Europe, carry on round the world. We're getting close to Amsterdam. Well, at least that's what my Garmin thinks. But at the moment, we're still surrounded by fields. They're in the distance. When they're a bit taller, you can see the odd industrial building. But Ewan is determined that even if we're at 58, 60 when we get to the campsite, we've got to carry on. He wants to get another 100k in today. So we might do a bit of exploring of Amsterdam on 2 wheels after the campsite. First, we've got to get there though. On one side now, we've still got the fields and the wetlands, the waterways. On my other, the urban sprawl has begun. The route taking us back into Amsterdam is fantastic. Big wide cycleway, greenery either side. I know we must be starting to get into the city, but there's no real sign of it at the moment. We have just gone over a beautifully elegant cycling and walking bridge to take us back over the river. It was beautiful. Ewan, you have finished the official Zuiderzee route. What do you want to do now? How far have we got to go?
According to me, 2 miles.
You want to do another couple of miles to make sure you get the 100k again today. Let's go find a couple of miles, shall we? Well, it's nice to be back at a campsite where we started the Zuiderzee route from. I'm cooking up our favourite meal. Yep, back at the Aldi pasta, but with some jumbo sausages, plenty of our favourite smoothies, and I am treating myself to another can of my newfound favourite beer, Desperados. The sun is just setting over the campsite, and Ewan is just having his nice refreshing shower while I cook the tea. Have a chill day a bit tomorrow. I think rain's forecast again for tomorrow, but we'll probably have a little bit of a late start and then head to a campsite near a parkrun, because of course Saturday is parkrun day, so we need to get near a parkrun for that. And I think Ewan has plans on where we might be going, so we'll check that out tomorrow. Right now, time to enjoy some tea. Make sure that pasta's cooking nicely. To add a bit of extra nutrition for mine, a bit of healthy edge, I'm chopping up a tomato to put in with it again. Ewan has declined that. Far too healthy for him. And that's it. Bon appetit. With a bit of focaccia bread as well from, guess what? Jumbo. Cheers.
One of the best male sprinters.
Just enjoying our lunch in a park somewhere on the outskirts of Amsterdam. I would judge by the sounds of the aeroplanes taking off and landing pretty near the airport as well. So lunch, courtesy of Jumbo, and then we've got about 25 miles to go to get to the campsite for tonight, I think. Cycling through some beautiful woodlands as part of this park. on the outskirts of Amsterdam. Absolutely lovely. The sun's dappling through the trees. Every now and then you spot little playgrounds or other things to do, and some interesting sculptures as well. We're just passing by the airport that we visited on the way in. Strangely, via a completely different route to get here. So, don't know why, maybe it was whereabouts in the airport we were at the Amsterdam sign. Couldn't quite get us to here very easily. We recognise from the backs of the buildings we saw the other side of. Love this row of houses we're cycling past. Each one has its own little bridge across the water there. Very cool. After leaving Amsterdam and passing through a few smaller towns on the outskirts, we're truly back into that rural landscape that sort of seems to cover so much of the Netherlands. Crops growing, cattle grazing, and just little towns and villages that we pass through. I am blindly trusting my Garmin with the route that Ewan has programmed for our journey today. Don't even know how far we've actually got to cycle exactly, because he put the whole route in to take us all the way through to Delft after parkrun tomorrow. So at some point we're going to come to a campsite, all being well. Tents pitched, golden glow of the evening sun cast over the campsite, and guess what? I'm cooking Aldi pasta and then chill here at the campsite this evening. It's a much quieter, smaller campsite, this one, certainly a bit smaller than Delft that we'll be at tomorrow, or where we were in Amsterdam last night, but it's quite pleasant and it's very convenient for parkrun in the morning. Your last meal, potentially, or while we're here, of the pasta from Aldi. Will you miss it?
No.
Are you slightly tired of it?
Yes.
We've had it for every night since Sunday. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spiced it up quite a bit. You've had peppers in it, you've had different types of sausage in it, you've had different flavours of pasta, and you've had different types of bread. Cashew bread, is it tonight, from Jumbo? Are you still thinking it's time for a change, are you, for tomorrow? Mm-hmm. You don't want me to make sure we find an Aldi tomorrow so we can have it for the next couple of nights? Okay, fair enough. We'll have a break. Hopefully chilled it a bit. It's been immersed in water for a little while. Not sure it's had that good an effect, but it'll do. It's campsite beer. Well, another day of exploring the Netherlands on two wheels is over. The sun has almost completely set. We're just enjoying a last stroop waffle before we head for bed. Tomorrow, parkrun. Zuiderzee. Is that right? Zegerplast, which we think sounds like something that should be in a sci-fi movie or something like that. So we're quite looking forward to that one. It's a flat, out-and-backer course. PB, we'll see how it goes in the morning, see how comfortable the night's sleep has been on an airbed. But good night for now. See you at parkrun in the morning. We're on our way this morning. Early start, off to parkrun. And we're actually following a car off the site who's also going to the same parkrun from Halifax area of England. They spotted us as being on the same site last night where I posted on the Facebook tourist group. And even stranger, we've got some friends from Coventry who, completely unknown to us, are also coming to this parkrun this morning. Go across the countries and you still meet up with people you know.
Yes? Okay. 3, 2,
very much. Well, that is a beautiful park run to do. You could go for a cool down sieve if you fancied it now, I guess. Don't think I'm quite up for that. More like a nice coffee and some breakfast, I think, will be my refuelling option. Park run complete, of course. The next most important thing is breakfast. There's a cafe that they all go to from the park run here, just opposite the finish. So we're heading there too. We've been told apple pie and coffee you can get here for breakfast, so sounds interesting. And we've got our espresso, as you would expect, for breakfast. And we've got a little alcoholic with cream drink on top, which apparently is a local tradition to start your day off with your morning coffee. Sounds good to me. Cheers.
It's got so much bounce as well.
We have just enjoyed a very nice pancake brunch post-parkrun. I had my honey, goat's cheese and walnuts that I really like, normally with bread, today on pancakes. And Ewan had a chocolate and almonds pancake, delicious. And he's now enjoying the adventure playground again, just outside the cafe. So then today we've just got about 25 miles or so to ride to head to Delft, where we're going to rest for the day tomorrow before heading back to the ferry on Monday. So back at our home campsite, as it were, of Delft. It's another beautiful day. Should be a nice, pleasant bit of riding to do. We are cycling on a fantastic cycle route at the moment. It's just been a nice two-way lane of traffic gliding us to wherever we're going. Not quite sure, but it's just gone on and on. It's just great. I still can't get over just how good the cycling infrastructure is here. A Saturday morning in the Netherlands, and it feels like the whole world is either out enjoying themselves on their bikes or out enjoying themselves on the river. Boats passing backwards and forwards on the right hand side of me, cyclists where we are. We are just heading into Den Haag now, on the outskirts. Some lovely allotments just here. Ewan and I have just both had the same thought independently as we're riding into Den Haag, that it feels more capital city-y than Amsterdam does. Amsterdam's more traditional, certainly a lot of what we've seen of it, whereas this has a lot more of the modern buildings, the high-rise buildings. You can feel the money here and things like that. So yeah, quite different in feel to Amsterdam. We're just cycling through Den Haag now, and as Ewan has just commented, it feels like we're on a kiddie called Mass back in England. We're not used to having this many cyclists around us cycling. It's very nice. We're back at the International Course of Justice. What do you want to come here for, particularly, Ewan?
Take some pictures.
He wants to take some pictures, loves the building, so. And me, being a political geek, love coming here as well. Just passing the Bijenhof, which we've just taken a stop to have a look at. The home of government of the area. Quite wanted to see it. My political geekery coming out again. Right, we're heading out of Den Haag now and heading back towards Delft, where we're hoping to find a place to camp for tonight again. We're just arriving back into Delft, which, to be honest, is starting to feel like our home in the Netherlands, with this being our third time to visit here. The start of this tour and when we came here last year before. Love it. Just the right size of place. We like it here. We've come into Delft from a slightly different direction to the way we have before. I've basically got us back from Den Haag to here without really referencing a map or anything. Just doing it by sense of direction. Ewan's not entirely sure he trusts my sense of direction, I think some might have got him lost. But I'm pretty certain we're okay. We'll get there. Our tent is pitched at our Delft campsite. It feels a bit like coming home, doesn't it, when we get there, Ewan? We've been there. It's our third time of stopping there now. And we both took a splash in the pool to cool down. That was very nice. And our tent is very convenient for the pool. Literally, out the tent door, pretty much, and into the pool. Couldn't beat that, can we? But we've also come for a change from Aldi pasta for tonight. You told me you weren't going to be happy if we had another Aldi pasta meal. So we are coming to IKEA. Yeah, we're really going for haute cuisine, high dining experience. But it'll hit the spot, won't it? It'll be a nice change. Let's go in. Well, we're back at the campsite. We enjoyed a decent tea at IKEA and plenty of chance to charge up all our electrical goodies because there was somewhere with a power socket. So we've done a bit of charging and a bit of browsing on the internet thanks to their internet connection. And we may have treated ourselves to a few goodies from Jumbo as well on the way back, mightn't we, Ewan?
Yep.
Well, and IKEA. What have you got?
We've got nutty chocolate.
Bit of nutty chocolate, thank you very much. I've treated myself to a bottle of Apple Bandit cider, which seems to be the only cider around here. Haven't seen any other brands. This is what everybody seems to stock. So if I can get into it, I think that's the wrong thing. Cheers. And you've got yourself your favourite orange juice from Jumbo. So just a chilled night. And a chilled morning, no having to get up early to go and crack out 60, 70 miles, is there tomorrow?
No.
No parkrun to do tomorrow morning, just relaxing, bit of time here on the campsite, go and explore Delft a bit more. You want to go and do some swimming, don't you? Have you enjoyed all the cycle touring we've been doing? Because this is pretty much the end of the cycle tour. All we've got left now is a bit of getting back to the ferry and so on, isn't it? Travel home. Has it been good? Best bits?
Don't know, just all round good.
Good achievement on the 100Ks. 2 days when you've done over 100K. That's pretty good going, isn't it? And favourite supermarket?
Jumbo.
Our new favourite supermarket is Jumbo. Any other highlights? I quite like the fountains.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool, weren't they? Those different fountains. We think we might have to plot another cycle tour to visit the 11 cities and look at all the 11 fountains. That would be pretty good. No, they're cities. I looked up. It's cities.
Oh, they're cities?
Yeah. Anything else?
No.
No. Oh, and we've got to come back as well because we need to cycle over the...
Yes. A few years' time.
A few years' time when they finally got round to finishing the dike.
Right.
Apparently it's supposed to have been finished 2 years ago. It's still going. So it could be a while, but we'll keep checking the website. When it's finished, maybe we'll pop back over and do that. Do you like our little romantic setting as well? We've treated ourselves to a candle. It's actually a vain attempt to see if it'll keep any of the flies away. Not sure if it'll work, but good night. We're going to chill out here for a bit, get some sleep, and we'll see you in the morning. We are just having a little explore of Delft on our day off, do some present shopping, maybe get some lunch, little things like that. What I had never noticed before is you may go all the way to Pisa to get the Leaning Tower, just come to Delft and you've got the Leaning Tower just here. Ewan and I have joined the pavement culture this evening. Had a delicious meal at the cafe just behind me. The burger was one of the best I've tasted. Really tasted as if it had come off a barbecue rather than the normal, just straightforward grilled. Really enjoyed that. Time to go get some puddingy type stuff though from guess where? Where are we going for puddingy type things, Ewan?
Jumbo.
Jumbo it is. Let's go find those bikes and get there. As we're going towards Jumbo, I spotted the ice cream shop that I had a sneaky ice cream at earlier when Ewan wasn't with me. I thought it was only fair that I got him one now. What do you reckon, Ewan? What did you go for?
Salted caramel.
How did it taste?
Good.
Enjoyed that? Shall we carry on then? It's the morning of the travel day home. Brewing my last coffee on the Trangia. Tomorrow I'll just be able to flick a switch and the kettle will boil. There's something quite nice though about in the morning taking the time to get the water boiling and doing it this way. Gets you set up for the day. A day of travelling today. Bike down to the ferry port, ferry over back to the UK, train up to London. Hopefully we'll get to London in time to catch the last train back up to Coventry. It's going to be a very late time home. But first, coffee and a croissant to get the day started. Ewan decided to go for a last swim at the campsite before we left. How was it this morning, Ewan, before 9 o'clock in the morning? Chilled. Is there any other words?
Cold.
What are you going for now?
Huh?
What are you doing now?
A nice hot shower.
To warm back up again. You're refreshed anyway for the ride ahead. Cool. See you tomorrow. We realised about halfway through our trip that you get a refund if you return your bottles, your plastic bottles. So we're giving that a try this morning and stocking up for our ferry journey home. Well, goodbye Delft. You have been a lovely base now for 2 Netherlands adventures. I think we'll be back again. We do like it here. Maybe as a whole family again next time. Now, let's find our way to Hook of Holland and catch that ferry. Well, we hear a lot about the cycling in the Netherlands, but just seen a sign to say the route we're on at the moment is also a rollerblading route, with a dedicated sign for that. Netherlands is giving us a last reminder of it doesn't make cycling completely easy all the time. We're heading into a headwind back to Hook van Holland. We are just 3 kilometres from the ferry port now. Not far to go at all, and actually in the distance I think I can see some of the superstructure of some of the ships in the port. And we've arrived. There's our ferry awaiting for us. Just got to go through passport control, park our bikes and relax for our journey back over to Harwich.
Picked it up. It was when I was riding past you into the area.
That's it. The journey home is well on its way. The cycling bit largely done. We're now on the ferry just departing from Hook of Holland, heading towards Harwich, and then just a couple of train journeys to do. Time to chill, enjoy the sights such as they are, and maybe eat a few nibbles or two that we bought from Jumbo. So we're just arriving back into Harwich port now. It's looking rather gloomy out there, but fortunately we've only got a few hundred yards to get from when we come off the ferry to get into the station to get the train back to London. So no having to battle any elements that they might be throwing at us when we get there. And then the train should hopefully whisk us back to London and head our way home. Boarding the trains for our journey home was a bittersweet moment. Looking forward to getting home to see Ruth and Iona, but we will definitely miss the simplicity of life on two wheels exploring the Netherlands. This has certainly been one of our most epic and memorable adventures yet, and we're looking forward to many more international bikepacking trips. If you've enjoyed this video, then do check out mine and Ewan's tour last year doing the Rebellion Way in Norfolk. See you on another adventure soon. Bye!